So thank you everyone for joining. We certainly value your time, and thanks to buildABILITY and EnerQuality for this this great platform. You know, it's hard to get anywhere without great partnerships, and we do thank them for helping us out. Let me just scroll down here, a little bit of a free screen on my end. If videos get jittery, I think I have a couple of run through in here. Just they're available on YouTube, and they're available also at the end of the presentation on our website. But I am the territory sales manager for the GTA and Northern Ontario for Isolofoam. I've been with the company 2.5 years now, coming from the renovation industry myself. I've owned a renovation business, and I've also managed at a big box building center in my previous life, just to let you know where I'm coming from. As mentioned by Tasnia, joining me online is Robert Cardinal. He is the technical expertise leader at Isolofoam. Briefly about Robert, he has a background previously at some other major foam manufacturers, and you've heard of all of them, I can assure you that. They're the big names. He's developed and commercialized 2 air barrier systems for the market. He was a member of the Standing Committee for Energy Efficiency in Buildings at the national level 2011 to 2018. He was a member of ULC Standards Committee on Thermal Insulation Materials and Systems 2010 to 2017. He was on the Technical Advisory Committee for our 2000 back in the 80s, and continues to serve on the task group for National Energy Code. And he was also chairman of the ULC task group on spray foam standards, so 2010 to 2017. So even though we're a rigid panel manufacturer, Isolofoam understands at an expert level how insulation products work as a system for your buildings. A lot of the content in this presentation is Robert's material put together with our marketing department. But since this is my territory, I live and breathe here, and I'm the one most of you would see in person, or maybe you've met me already. I'll be the one giving the presentation with Robert in the background, ready to answer any technical questions. Now we know we have a wide audience with us today, and many of you are building envelope experts yourselves, so we'll still, I think, show you something new. But even if you're not that experienced and you're new to the industry, we should have something for you as well. Isolofoam is a 100% Canadian-owned expanded polystyrene manufacturer. Our core business is insulation products for the residential and ICI sectors. Our current administration has been in place for more than 40 years. We have 100 dedicated employees, be it production engineers, code experts, marketing team, or factory workers. Products are manufactured in our plant located south of Quebec City. Here on the left of the screen, you can see Robert, who lives just outside of Montreal, but below that, myself, Diane, and Steve are all reps living and working here in Ontario. So we have the resources out in the field already in Ontario to help with quotes, getting samples to the builders, getting technical guides to designers, getting in to educate the dealers. So we're readily available through some major banners that you're all familiar with already. The ones you see there, also Phoenix Building Components distribute some of our product. So lead time for our standard product is typically 3 to 5 days. Specialty products up to 10 days. Most of the product that was already here in Ontario through these building centers or at their warehousing. So we know some of you may be doing some of your buying through other distributors. If you're a big builder, for instance, you're dealing with Alpha Group, you know, they'll start carrying us once you guys demand that they do so. So we're happy with the ones who brought us here, and most of you right now can get us through these fantastic banners. But there are other options available in the future. Products manufactured by Isolofoam, they're application specific to the building envelope. So in other words, yes, we have general purpose panels, you know, shiplapped foam panels, but we generally differentiate ourselves with products that are designed specifically for the basement, for the wall assembly, and for underslab. So our DNA is all about innovation, but not at any cost. Value added can be an overused phrase and should have a specific meaning. So every product that is launched by Isolofoam follows the criteria. Does it save time at installation? And is it improving the quality of construction, thus adding value for you, the builder? So everything we do in these upcoming products we're going to show you is predicated on the basis that the demands for better efficiency are going to increase, and labor is not going to get any cheaper or easier to find. But it has to be affordable. So we can deliver innovations at the best cost so you can improve your building performance without spending more. We also give a lot of importance to testing and certifying our products. So for that reason, most of our products are Green Guard or Green Guard Gold certified and have CCMC numbers. So we've always been a company who introduced innovation to the market. As far back as 1998, we looked at the data and we projected challenges with labor in construction and developed an innovation strategy that worked towards a solution. So technologies that we're about to introduce to you here have become the norm on job sites in Quebec. Not every company has ownership that is eager to innovate because it's expensive to invest in that. We do that. Many others are happy to be followers or copiers. We want to be innovators. So our innovation leadership is well documented here. So we just ask you to reflect, okay, Isolofoam, if they've been innovative regularly in the past and taken builders along with them, looks like they're probably a good bet also to hitch our wagon to them for future innovations to help solve our problems. But the company culture is focused on picturing what it's like to be on the job site with the contractor. No matter if you're building just to meet code or you're an Energy Star or looking to be a net zero builder, Isolofoam is a partner that you can work with. With each of the products we'll be talking about, every detail in the product is designed to help you build more effectively and solve some of your labor concerns. So we can help you with these aspects of your projects: higher insulation levels, air sealing, helping the planet, and delivering tangible consumer benefits where your customers get better indoor living, they get to save energy, get to save money, and have peace of mind about energy efficiency. EPS is 2% plastic and 98% air with no blowing agents. So because of that, EPS is the only insulation panel that is not subject to long-term thermal resistance calculations, because its R value does not diminish over time, making EPS future-proof. Now, are you out there adjusting for LTTR on your design value? You should be. It's right there in ULC standards applicable to foam plastics that contain a blowing agent. It says thou shall use LTTR as the design value. It's right there in ULC S701 and S770. You don't worry about that with EPS. When LTTR is applied as it should be, what happens to those products that contain a blowing agent? The R value per dollar goes down, doesn't it? There's no such discounting of R value needed with EPS. Its initial value is its permanent R value. So stop thinking solely about R value per inch. A lot of people, oh, EPS, it's a little bit thicker to get R5. The R value per dollar just cannot be beat in EPS versus other foam panels. And really, once you get a system going on your favorite builds to work with EPS sizing, you will start to see your cost per R value start to decrease. Now, let's look at some products from the ground up. iFlex foam. So iFlex foam is a laminated concrete slab foam with a locking edge that does not require taping and designed to speed up slab installations. We have a patent on iFlex foam, and there's no panel like it in the world. It's very difficult to get a patent on a foam panel because your company has to demonstrate a significant improvement in an element of its design. We've done that with iFlex foam. The locking edge on it really makes a difference, and it's so easy to work with. It's no more complicated than working with a click flooring. You see that right here. I don't know if this is showing up on your screen where I circle. So in this video, I'm going to show you this project was installed by 3 to 4 people. It's just a 1.5 to 2 minute video of iFlex foam in use. This 3,200 square foot project took 4 hours including cutting around the plumbing and us being in the way for the video shoot. So we can document this and other case studies of cost savings of at least 20%. And we have regular Quebec builders who tell us they save about 40% of time once they've started using it a couple times. So this video can certainly convey feature and benefits better than I can. There's a little bit of music in the background, but regardless, if you can hear it or not, I'm going to talk in spots over top of it. Again, I don't know how you're viewing it, if it's a little bit jittery, it's also available on our website for a little bit smoother view. So you see a lot more people on the job site. Some good supervising going on there in the background, but we did restrict to 3 and occasionally a 4th person just doing the foam installation. Everybody else is either working on another task on the job or it's us observing the installation. So you can see this ground here, it's a sand bed, so gravel wasn't necessary, and it's not even particularly level, and these guys are having no problem at all installing this product. Just click it, step on it, you're done, move on to the next panel, no taping. That little click edge, if that piece of it happen to break off, it doesn't matter, it stays stuck to the laminate. Or you just break it off and continue on. So it's no more consequential than losing the edge on a shiplap product. Look at the size of this field here. There's a couple different thicknesses here. I think there's an R10 and an R15 maybe. We make this in a couple of different R values. Now they're going to continue on here and do a radiant installation. This was prior to our puck system. Most people would install radiant tube now on a puck panel, but you can still do it the old-fashioned method on flat foam. Okay, so look interesting, I hope. So iFlex foam has what we call the IsoClick clipping system on all 4 edges. It's laminated top and bottom, which makes it tougher than other products. No gaps, no taping of joints. Doesn't matter if part of that edge should happen to clip off, it will stay attached to lamination, or you can break it off if you want to for convenience. Tested and certified. We make this product in 16, 20, and 30 PSI, and your common R values, R10 being most common, but I think we go down to an R5, we can do an R15. iFlex foam is very resistant to traffic during installation before concrete pouring, even with the wheelbarrow. So we all know everyone's running around in a panic. Oh, cement trucks here, wheelbarrows going all over the place. That's the problem we solved with iFlex foam. We've eliminated the fiddling around with the installation and sped up the installation process. And most of you adapted to that old school, from that old school tie down method of radiant heat shown in the iFlex video, and are now working with puck panels instead. The reason being, if you're working with a radiant puck panel, it can save 70% time than installing it over flat stock. So that IsoClick edge we saw is also on our IsoRad V2 product. The V2 is just a version 2. We had a previous version before we had the clicking edge. So IsoRad V2 is what we call this product. It makes the panel stay together, especially during the tube installation. We make IsoRad in 16, 25, and 30 PSI, and in an R10 and R15. For all the features that IsoRad has, we can easily exceed the value of other puck panels. And I've looked at the costing of selling puck panels. We generally do beat what you may be spending now a square foot on radiant puck panels in Ontario. Additionally, for the right builders, we'll also give you a trial promo for this product. So again, I don't know if you're hearing the music or not, but I'm going to talk a little bit over top of it. These are 4x4 panels. So you guys are doing 16 square feet at a time instead of 8 square feet. which most other panels I've seen are only 8 square feet. Click together, panels can be offset, and these pucks will always line up. The product forces you to line up the pucks, and it doesn't come apart once you've done that. You can see underneath there, so if this had been a flat, here's the bottom of it, if this had been a flat panel, it would probably rock back and forth. So we do that not only to make shipping more efficiently, but also if there's any irregularities in your gravel bed, quite easily absorbed by the bottom of the panel. Now, if you're a builder who doesn't really get involved in the radiant installation yourselves, a lot of you hand it off to the plumbing contractor. Ask them to quote specifically an ISORAD, because chances are we are going to for the panel than what I know they're spending on it right now. And certainly we'll help them try it for the first time with that promo. All right, so you get the idea there? It works, doesn't it? So our latest product is a thin version of that ISORAD. This is made in R3 and R5, and it's meant to go over existing concrete slab, especially in multiple dwelling construction. It can also go over wood subfloor as long as you've engineered it to minimize deflection. Panel size on this will be 4x4. This is what it looks like here. And it doesn't, it's not thick enough, of course, to have that exact locking edge, but you can see it does have some sort of locking mechanism here that keeps the pucks always in alignment. This little hook and, I don't know, hook and loop, I guess, type of mechanism lets you offset this as well. So it doesn't have to be lined up the way it's indicated here. It can be offset for greater strength. One added benefit we found is that it seems to make buildings extremely quiet. Most cases, this would go over concrete floor and get a self-leveler poured over top. So you have the foam and then you have the self-leveler. All that is going to add about 3 inches in total foam and self-leveler thickness, if anybody's interested in looking at this product. So just calculate that into your design that you're going to add 3 inches if this goes on top of existing concrete slab. The builders in Quebec who've done multi-level units with it do comment on how well it does for sound mitigation as well. And for industrial projects using 3/4 and 1 inch tube, we have a unidirectional 4x8 panel. So same benefits as the ISORAD V2, but this is for bigger, wider areas and coverage, and also, of course, works with the larger tubing. Basements. So basement installation, not everyone is building with ICFs. We can offer Isofoam as an alternative to either ICF, spray foam, or insulation blanket. Isofoam is a 2 and 3 inch, so we have 2 versions, laminated panel in 4x8 or 4x100. So that's a nice friendly size in some circumstances, 4 foot by 100 inch. This will ensure the continuous insulation, the coverage of the area, and eliminates thermal bridges. It's shiplapped. Obviously, it's going to improve the comfort of the basement. The foil does constitute a rigid and easy to seal vapor barrier. So it can serve multiple functions. It's your thermal insulation, it could be a vapor barrier, and it can be your air barrier as well. You're going to get the stable long-term thermal resistance known to that EPS is known for. It does reflect radiant energy. Now, I'll show you in a second our stance on reflective values of foil. You should be skeptical of it, but on this product, I'll show you why you can have a little bit more confidence. So it's fast and easy to install, and it's going to marry to any imperfections in the concrete wall as well. Because it's not our hardest foam. It's a little bit on the softer side to absorb some of the blemishes you get on a foundation wall. So one product to install with multiple functions, which are going to be fast and easy, and that's going to certainly save on labor and is even friendly for DIY. Now, according to code, you're going to have to cover this with a fire barrier, which most commonly is going to be your drywall. So installation must be done exactly as on the tested assemblies to be able to have any reflective contribution recognized. We know in Ontario, reflective values of foil are not necessarily readily recognized by OBC. And we do agree that in general, that's good to be skeptical about claims of reflective values of foil. One reason is it's virtually impossible to reliably test every package and wall assembly option there is. There's too many materials in between. It's prohibitive to do that. Below grade, however, we suggest that since the monolithic concrete foundation is a constant known both in our testing and on your job site, as opposed to a framed wall assembly, the CCMC report that we do have is there, it's consistent, it's well documented, and should give you some leeway with the building official and say, look, I've done exactly the way they did in laboratory. NRC signed off on it. It's used in other provinces. It's recognized for the reflective values. At least gives you an argument with the building official. Certainly with, especially with regard to retrofit. So exterior walls, move on to there. We have several options to choose from to insulate your exterior above grade walls. You have many, you may do many types of wall assemblies to your builds, or you may stick with one. So you might keep it simple with either an R5 graphite panel. If I can just get my cursor over, I don't know if you're seeing it. So that's our graphite panel. You may want to do some added rigidity. For that, we have a product called IsoBrace, or you might want to go for some air tightness and use an air barrier system, for which we have IsoClad. So here's where you can get a benefit in making sure your local dealer, if they aren't already, is carrying Isolofoam versus the competition, especially on the graphite panels. So a lot of you already work with the graphite panel in Ontario. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it does the job, it gets you R5 at a low cost. It works, and we make a good one with IsoShield. Will be similar in price to what others are for graphite. So we don't want to claim a price advantage on IsoShield. No. So why switch? So why switch is because with only Isolofoam can you get your dealer to get access to all three unique types of sheathing panels. So we consider a good, better, best from IsoShield over to IsoBrace to IsoClad. If your dealer is selling you another brand of graphite, ask them, you know, can they get these other twos from their current manufacturer? The answer is they can't. There's no other EPS manufacturer, Ontario, Quebec, it doesn't matter. They don't have all three. When a dealer can buy all three options from a single manufacturer, he's going to get volume discounting. And that results in a better price for you for one of these or all three of these. Whatever you want to do in the future, you're covered on all three options. And that's really what it's all about, good price and options. And certainly if you're a buyer, if you've ever been a buyer in your background, you know how important it is in having that versatility while maximizing your discounting and being able to stick with one manufacturer for several types of builds. So let's start on the right with IsoClad. I'm going to start right to left. So IsoClad is an EPS panel with a laminated air membrane, which is easy to tape and highly vapor permeable. It was the first of its kind in the market 21 years ago, launched in 1998. It was the first lamination of an air membrane, which was not also a vapor barrier. So it's been well used in the market. We're specified this product by architects of some high-end Muskoka custom builds, for instance, Altius Architects in Toronto. If anybody knows them, a good, reputable high-end architect. They're quite comfortable with what they found with IsoClad. So you can just imagine the benefit of being able to install your continuous insulation and air barrier at the same time, especially the higher you go, when it just gets difficult working with a roll of house wrap. And you aren't a guinea pig working with IsoClad, because you can look to its dominance in Quebec for over 20 years as something that obviously has worked for builders. All sorts of sizes, 4x8, 4x9, 4x10, multiple thicknesses. It's always shiplap by default. So even untaped, it'll constitute your secondary weather plane. A lot of products are only available in butt edge. We'd recommend taping it because it's easy to tape. You can get your air tightness points for Energy Star. They're pretty easy to get. And it's tested and works with several types of tape, so including simple red tuck tape. So red tuck tape, no specialty tapes. There's other better tapes out there. We know that. We've tested them with the 3015 3M, for instance. But the point is, we don't require a specialty tape. Stuff you're using already is going to work on this type of air membrane on Isoclad. And I've heard from some contractors working with specialty products needing specialty tape. House is large enough, it's $1,500 sometimes just in tape. Not so with Isoclad. So Isoclad ensures the continuity of the air barrier and minimizes air leakage, gets you air tightness to help you pass your blower door test. And you can't have true energy efficiency without air tightness. It is a high performance insulation recognized already by the industry. You get your long-term thermal performance of EPS and a CCMC approved air membrane. The air barrier system itself is tested, and we have our own CCMC number on Isoclad as lamination. So we're not just taking somebody else's membrane, sticking it to it and saying, here you go. We've done the testing. The foam, the air membrane makes it one product with our own CCMC number. We have precise yet simple methods for installation that can be followed by even your junior workers. Its ease of installation means that your construction schedule will stay on track. Foam's up, air barrier's up, sealed, boom, you're done. Move on to something else. Our air infiltration score. So this is comparable to some more expensive air barrier products, including some commercial peel and sticks you might be using already. There's some good ones out there. We know that, and they cost a fair bit, and they can boast close to a 0 score on walls when they have no penetrations. But as soon as you have a window, as soon as you have a door, you have an air vent, those air membrane scores are no better than Isoclad on those walls with penetrations. Look it up. You'll find that that's true. So your cost per square foot for a top performing air barrier and insulation makes Isoclad very interesting to look at for energy efficiency as a great cost, equal to some of the more expensive and top performing commercial air membranes on the market. And I'm going to suspect most of you are building with windows and doors on your building. Little joke there. We've looked at some A1 packages for Zone 1 just to give you some quick comparables on SB12 versus effective RSI solutions using Isoclad. So this particular thickness comparison is with brick veneer. So you're an SB12 builder, you're working with OSB, I don't want to add more continuous insulation, I don't want my walls to get thicker. Oh yeah, okay, that's 11 inch versus 11 inch. And look how you drive up your interior wall temperature. So it's not old misconceptions you might have about EPS are not necessarily true. It does not have to result in thicker walls. This slide just gives you an idea of where Isoclad at 1 inch and even at 2¼ thicknesses falls versus the old BC threshold for vapor barrier, which is at that 60 nanogram mark. So even at 2¼ we're going to give you enhanced moisture management on your wall assemblies. Did I skip a slide? No, I'm good here. So walls with Isoclad give you equivalent or better effective thermal resistance. They allow you to practice air tightness. You can get enhanced moisture management. You can end up with comparable thickness to what you may be doing now if you are just following SB12 prescriptives. That can result in potentially lower costs. You have no other air membrane to install. And that is going to result in reduced callbacks, because when your customer finds the house comfortable with no drafts, they're not calling you up to come fix something. Now, if you prefer doing one step for your wall rigidity and continuous insulation, and then doing your own house wrap, we have you covered there as well with IsoBrace. So IsoBrace is EPS foam laminated to OSB, and we have complete control over this product. So we make this in-house, and we carefully select the OSB. Now, OSB in general, isn't on its own a vapor barrier, but some perform better than others, and we've sourced out two that ensure that when we have a lamination, and we have this third-party tested, we know that the OSB foam and the glue, they're tested as a laminated product and will not form a vapor barrier. Often it's the glue that can be the problem, and we've tested to make sure that's not the case. This can be installed both ways, so either foam inward or outward. On our website, you can see the installation guide there on our guidance in that regard. And we use OSB that is either Forest Stewardship Council or Sustainable Forestry Initiative certified. So at the bottom left here, you can see an installation taking place with the OSB outward towards the framing. It does require a specialty nailer that countersinks the nail head through the foam against the OSB as required. Now, why do we want to have a method where the foam is outward? As an insulation manufacturer, we do preach that it is a best practice to keep the lumber as warm as possible. But we do know that builders like the convenience of being able to nail directly against the OSB. So we make either installation method available to you in our installation guidance. A couple other projects here locally. This is, if any of you know Farsight Homes, this is them working with it OSB outward, which is going to be the more common method. I should also mention, I don't know where a joint is here. Maybe it's over in this corner if you can see, but we do the foam 1/16 wide of the OSB for self-spacing. So that will create the foam always being butted together and a built-in 1/8 of an inch gap as required by OBC in the OSB sheathing to deal with possible expansion. So we build that gap in there. A lot of people miss that on installing even their plain OSB. You're supposed to leave a gap. That's already built into IsoBrace. So we've done this exercise for all packages. In the interest of brevity, we'll just show you A1 for now, but certainly feel free to reach out with any questions at the end or in the future for any specific needs you have for your favorite SB12 alternative. This one happens to be for vinyl siding, so a couple different thickness numbers here. So you're an SB12 builder, I don't know, I'm going to be thicker. Well, no, I can get you down to 6-inch if you follow one of our alternative effective R-value packages. It may require, they're already doing this in Quebec, guys, but going down to 2x4 construction. When you think about it, we went to 2x6 only to get enough bat inside the wall cavity. Well, we now know that effective RSI is better for driving up the interior wall temperature. So you can't do it on every build, but your most common builds, you probably can think about going down to 2x4. And think of it, your thickness, if you can do a little bit thinner wall, even if it's going from a 7-inch wall down to a 6-inch wall, can you now promote accurately your 2,200 square foot models as now being 2,300 square foot? You've got 1-inch additional room in every room in the house. Do the math. It'd be surprising. You might be able to come up with another 100 square feet on your interior space. So it can be surprising where you get that. So the point is, whether you're somebody that is just following OBC or you're an Energy Star or net zero builder, we've worked out a performance solution that you can work with. And the relative costs, you see we've done the numbers versus what you might be doing now on some of the prescriptives, and it can be cheaper. So our third option for insulated sheathing is the aforementioned IsoShield graphite panel. These types of panels, we consider them a good product versus our better and best with the IsoBrace and IsoClad. One reason is these only be done butt edge. They're not an air barrier, a certified air membrane themselves. Generally, they'll need a good one installed over top or underneath it, but they get you R5 at a good price. And when it's done in NEOPAR, you get increased R value over what EPS would normally be. So what NEOPAR does, NEOPAR increases the R value of a type 1 EPS bead and takes it from R4 per inch to R4.6 per inch, or R5 at inch and 16th. So if you worked with graphite on the market before, you know you get your R5 at inch and 16th, which is pretty good. So more R value in a thinner panel than can traditionally be done in EPS. But we suggest be careful on the panel you choose, because just being gray does not mean it increases the R value. The best proven performer in graphite is the BASF NEOPAR bead. Only BASF NEOPAR is patented. It has a high purity graphite contained only in the BASF product, and the proof of performance data belongs solely to BASF. So we ask you to look for we're not the only ones, but do look for that NEOPAR name on your gray panels. Sometimes it's just gray, and it's not always NEOPAR.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should leave some room for Q&A. So
sure.
Okay.
I'm getting there. Yep. The last ones we go through fairly quickly. So IsoShield made of NEOPAR gets you your R value per inch in a thinner panel than traditional EPS. It's laminated back and front. We do perforate this product, so it's not a vapor barrier. So if you start asking for IsoShield by name at your distributor or dealer, we'll come back to that point again. You can stick with the graphite panel, but you have ready access to the other options as well. Another NEOPAR product of ours, IsoR Plus. It may not be common in the market in Ontario to insulate from the inside, but it is an option. IsoR Plus is an interior graphite insulation panel with a vapor barrier foil. So if you have to insulate from the inside, it can perform multiple functions. It's your insulation, your vapor barrier, and potentially your air barrier. So you can save on the cost of installation by knocking off 3 things in one shot. IsoR Plus can be used for the wall, but it can also be great for ceilings. So this is an example of a foil product where we cannot make any claims on the increased R value of the reflective foil. It's just too complicated to test it. Also great on cathedral ceilings. And of course, we also make what we would call versatile panels. So versatile foam shiplap for everyday multi-purpose projects, available various thicknesses. Each product is tested, so if we say it is 30 psi, it is at least 30 psi. Other sizes and thicknesses are available than what's shown here. We have 4 more sizing options in EPS than other types of foam panels, and almost always more cost effective. Just for example, the 40 and our newest product is in plain panel is a 60 psi. So if you have projects that are calling for a high 40 or high 60 spec, look for EPS high compressive as an alternative. More often than not, you will win out on price, and you will meet all the standards set out in the ULC standards for compressive values, flexural strength, and type 3 is even very close in water absorption towards a type 4. We've also participated in passive house projects, such as this is Kamagami House in northern Quebec, which has been called the most resilient house in North America, featuring an R64 slab. So that's what an R64 floor and R83 walls look like. This was using our XHD 200 and a product called Isofix here, which is the slatted product, which allows strapping to be embedded inside it. So we didn't even cover that. So we can keep it simple, or we can get involved in some complex projects with you. The company culture is focused on what it's like to be on the job site with you and to help you build more comfortable and healthy homes while keeping it affordable. We can service residential ICI projects with our innovative products, and we have the network right here in Ontario who are ready to help. So our testing and documentation makes you comfortable in being able to design with confidence, and it's easy accessible. The installation of our innovations are easy, and you'll increase the quality and efficiency of your buildings. These innovations are affordable products. That's always important to keep in mind. Just an example here from our website of our technical documentation. isolofoam.com/documentation. You're there. No email addresses you have to put in to view the documentation. Technical guides, construction details, specs are all there. The videos we showed today are available on our website if you want to view them for further review, also on YouTube. And so why change to Isolofoam? We've already proven our high performance in one of the largest and coldest provinces. There's labor shortage, which isn't going to get any better or cheaper. And we give you the opportunity to buy affordable product and install them quickly, often being able to do 2 steps in one and help keep your schedules on track. No special tools are needed for our products. And this is myself and Robert, who's been listening patiently. You can take note of our details there. Email or phone. And return again to our Ontario team, Robert, myself, Diane Smith, and Steve, covering all parts of Ontario. And we definitely want to thank buildABILITY and EnerQuality for having us here today. And with that, Tasnia, I will turn it over to you to handle the question and answer traffic.